Welcome to the Folk Hogan podcast. We're doing a deep dive into the world of Folk Hogan. We generally go over band stories, behind the scenes action, everything in between. And yeah, get you all the up-to-date information on what we got going on. Let's get started.
Yeah, we got all sorts of fun things. So what we're going to do today, first of all, Clamtown, how are you?
I'm good.
Of all of your...
It's been a whole week since we recorded the last one.
Of all of your nicknames...
I didn't change.
In the
I'm
band,
still in the same close.
Which one do you prefer? Clamtown or Clamlin?
Oh, Clamtown for sure. Clamlin was the early one.
Yeah.
That was like the...
It was the predecessor to Clamtown.
It was the predecessor, and I feel like... I feel like we were going up to... It was the night where I ate the eggs out of the sink.
Okay. All right.
We'll get to it.
The Eggler.
That's a story we have to tell.
Yeah. But I feel like it was Clamlin on the way up there, and then it was Clamtown on the way back.
Egg burglar.
For no reason, but...
Fair.
If we meet another British person, we'll tell them that your name is Egg Burglar.
Egg burglar. And they'll be like, oh, you're from Edinburgh. That was a horrible British accent. James. Last week's episode, we talked about James Norrington.
Chips, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. You know, Chips got LASIK earlier this year, and he's so used to wearing glasses that he tends to just wear glasses still anyways, and he's been... Oh, you took them off. He's been wearing these like orangey rose-colored glasses.
They're pink, dog.
Yeah, they're pink, but like the lenses are kind of orange.
I didn't even notice that. The inches.
We're going to have to charge for a premium version of this podcast.
But I find it interesting because like when you have not worn glasses, so few people have seen you without glasses that they're kind of weirded out by it.
Yeah.
I've now gotten used to those specific glasses on you that it's always weird when I see you take them off. I'm like, wow.
Seeing you in a pair of Ray-Bans would be really weird right now.
Ooh, yeah, swapping them out.
Zing.
Shades. Look at you.
Got some rays.
So today we're going to go through, we put up a post on Facebook a little while ago and let people ask some questions. And so we're going to go over some of those questions and chat about some other stuff as well. So initially, we put a post up that says, because my mom is, be nice because my mom is on here. Anyone listening to the Folk Hogan podcast, we've been doing anything you'd like to hear more about, questions, comments, etc. The first question from my dear friend Clarissa up in Portland. She came and saw us last time we were there. She's seen us a couple times that we've been there. First question was, I bet your mom's cool. Does she listen to the podcast? Nick.
Yeah. Well, so my mom isn't actually on Facebook. I just...
My mom is and commented on this post.
I just have, like, we're like at the end of an election cycle, and I have mostly musicians on Facebook as friends. And so I could just be like... say like the nicest fluffiest thing and they would still like I still just get these like curmudgeons that there's a few people,
it's social media
on my Facebook page that I've never met in real life that are like part of our local music scene in some regard, and all I know about them is they're mean on the internet. I know nothing else about their music. And frankly, I'll never go to one of their shows. I'll never book any of those bands. Dude, I'll never do anything for them because I just have like 5 or 6 like curmudgeon-y old beasts that come out.
Yeah. Classic social media.
They're all men.
Yeah.
What? Dude, I've stopped. If I don't know you personally, I've stopped fucking. Stopped accepting
and it's
people.
not just me. Like I'll be like, I'm doing sound at Pat's Thursday night. Let me go check the thing real quick, and I'll like open it up, and I'll be like, oh, there's the flyer that I made for the month schedule, and like the first comment will just be like, I hate the person that books this. Blah blah blah, and I'm like, I just like everywhere I go, there's like the same group of like 4 or 5 people that are just being assholes to everyone. Yeah. And
next episode, we're gonna call them all out.
I'm like, you know this shit's public, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like
No,
when
dude, they posted that post that was like, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't, if you share this, tell him you don't get permission to share their photos.
yeah.
So I
Whatever.
gotta say, is your mom on Facebook? Yeah, your mom's on Facebook.
My dad's on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your mom's on Facebook.
No.
Oh no, she's on Instagram.
Mom's on Instagram, yeah.
But
So my dad's middle name is Tammy.
But I believe
They had a shared one
Moses'
eventually.
mom commented
She did.
something about that she does.
My mom responded to that comment
Yeah.
and said, "Yes, I do. Love me some Folkhagen." She spelled her name wrong. It's okay, Mom. And she said, "Seriously though, they are great, and Moses is the cutest." And so sweet,
Biased.
so sweet. Who do you think is the cutest, Cameron?
Moses is,
band?
In the band, who do you think's the cutest?
do you agree with Moses' mom or do you disagree?
Well, I would probably agree with Moses' mom, but on tour I would not agree because it's Sebastian on tour.
Cameron and Sebastian are
Tour married.
Tour married.
Yeah.
They always
They're work wives.
They always share a room and fill it full of farts. And
We're going to get matching tattoos that say, "Till death do us fart."
yeah, it's adorable. All right.
On our butt cheeks.
Next comment from someone named Rob Page.
That's a weird first name.
Rob Page?
Rob Page. Never heard of him. Rob is like our number one fan, and we love Rob and Heather. And
He's one of two people in the world who have three people in the world who
There's
have a
a
Hulk
few.
Hogan
There's a
He's
tattoo.
got multiple Hulk Hogan tattoos.
and
He does have two.
they moved to Indiana a couple years ago.
So it's more than
and
one.
We've been sad ever since because we miss them so much. And Heather's daughter Jamie, she tries to fill in for them, but she knows she could absolutely never fill their shoes. So Rob said, "I've listened to every episode. The stories are great. I love the samples of the new songs. I'd be interested to hear about some of your favorite shows, who you enjoyed opening for, who you liked opening for you, and shows you enjoyed just as an audience member." Nick, you want to go first? Who have you enjoyed opening for?
For me, some of the early on stuff that we did where we open up for bigger, like well-known household name kind of acts that Hulk Hogan fit well with. Those were some of my favorite shows. The first time that we opened up for the Reverend Horton Heat was like a really big deal because it's kind of just like this nice little stamp on the wall. It's this nice little diploma of like, I didn't realize. So it's like a real band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Cameron?
So
What
that
was the question?
That was a good way to like kind of build local
Yeah.
hype.
Yeah.
At that time.
This was the favorite opener?
band we've opened for.
Tell you the worst band we'd open up for, and that was Murphy and the. I'm just kidding.
We have a
Title of the podcast.
Yeah.
Murphy and the Giant is the worst band.
We have a
Podcast.
feud with the other local band, Murphy and the Giant.
For no reason.
I don't know. Can you call them a band? I don't know. They're a collection of people
Mush.
that just like bang on their instruments. Don't bother. Just kidding. Go like them.
They're real nice.
They're wonderful, and we love them. But we have a fake feud with them that has brought us so much joy. And if you want to
angry
see
musicians,
if you want to see how
on
much
our
joy
local Facebook page,
it has brought us, go buy a copy of our EP, which is titled V5.
Or if you already got a copy,
Yeah, just go read the liner
Open
notes.
it up.
Yeah, and you'll see how,
For some
how
of those,
far the feud has gone.
Some of you out there, you actually, when you buy a vinyl record, you can open it
It's
and
not-
then look in it, and then you can actually take the big plastic thing out and put it on this thing called a turntable. And
Oh, it's like a CD player, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You put it in a CD
Yeah,
tray?
put it in your
It doesn't
car.
quite fit.
No, they don't have them in cars anymore.
Yeah, Cameron, favorite band we've opened for?
Fuck, man, I don't know. I mean, from a show perspective, man, I think I'll kind of botch this answer with the same thing that happens to me when people say hi to me in public and like, oh, great show. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I'm so sorry. Like, usually I have a few drinks at a show and then I don't remember the show anymore. It's not because I get wasted. I don't know. I just get in a weird headspace. But I really liked opening up for Young Dubliners at Commonwealth. I think.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was a blast.
The Reverend Horton Heat show that I did with you guys, in case
At the
people
depot.
don't know, I joined 10 years ago, so I didn't get the... which is, oh my God. Anyway.
Old.
Yeah, I
just
didn't
just 10 years ago.
I didn't do the
new.
Anti-Flag and the first Rev show and some of those other big ones that were bestowed upon us very early on. But yeah, Reverend Horton Heat one was fun. I'm trying to think of other ones that were just like...
Yeah. That Reverend Horton Heat one was cool because at the end of that show,
Suede Head.
it was just me
right around then.
and Nick and you standing on stage with Jimbo.
Oh, yeah.
And just like chatting and hamming it up and just like talking about music.
Yeah.
And
He's
that was so
nice.
much fun. And I got to tell this side story real quick. One of the weirdest experiences that ever happened to me.
Oh, yeah. This is good.
We were standing on stage and I'm talking to Jimbo. Like, I had a Reverend Horton Heat bucket hat in like 1997, 1998, something like that.
I was 5.
So every time we've played with Reverend Horton Heat, it's been a big deal for me. I love that band. And we're standing on stage at the end of this show. It's at the depot, so we're up on a big boy stage. And
my phone's full.
Jimbo, at one point,
It's okay. Look at you guys.
looks over at me and he's like, hey, we're talking about songs that we liked. And I was like telling him songs of theirs I liked and asking questions about them. And he was like, yeah, I caught your guys' set. You guys are really awesome. And he really liked Bourbon Blues. He was like, that was a really cool song. And he was like, you know, I had this idea for ages about writing a song that's about, like, you know, your job sucks and you have all this anger about it and you just have to bottle it up. And then like you go home and your girlfriend or your wife's like mean to you and she's mad about everything and you just got to bottle that up. And like your car breaks down, you got to bottle that up. You got to bottle up all of these emotions. And then, you know, the weekend rolls around and you get to go down to the bar and you get to uncork that bottle and pour out all of those emotions. And I was like, that's such a cool idea.
I like that.
And he hands me a bottle of wine and he goes,
Where was the bottle of wine?
he had it with him because it had been in the green room. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was like, I've been trying to write that song for like 10 years and I just can't get it out. I think you could write that song and I want you to drink this bottle while you write it. And he handed me his bottle of wine.
Cool.
And I want to write that song so bad, but I don't want to get rid of that bottle. Jimbo gave me a bottle of wine. It's like...
Wait, you still have it?
I still have it. It's Robert Mondavi Cabernet Sauvignon. It's not like a fancy bottle of wine or anything, but like Jimbo gave me that.
Yeah, but you
So
still keep that bottle.
one of these days I got to sit down and write that song. It'll probably go on the next album.
It's probably got chunks in it now. Dude.
That's such a
Christ,
that's such a boss ass. Like that's so fucking cool that he did that.
I mean, I wouldn't care if he does that to every band they ever play with. They still made me feel
Did he
special.
have like cargo pants on and had just
should.
pulled a fucking full bottle of wine
Yeah,
out of
you
one
should,
of the
man.
Jimbo, he's
pockets?
wearing Dickies.
Oh yeah.
If I had to pick, oh man, that's such a hard question. Bands we've opened for. There's so many good ones. We opened for Hammerfall,
Yeah, we did.
That was fun.
This
which
year.
was incredible. Like I literally got the text from the booker at Metro.
Like 3 days before or something.
Yeah, like the day before or something like that. It was like super close. And I got this text and it just said, hey, would Folk Hogan be willing to open for Hammerfall? For those of you that don't know, Hammerfall is like a Scandinavian power metal band.
Play some Hammerfall on your phone.
And they absolutely...
Will that get DMCA'd?
They absolutely rip. We'll keep it short
RFID'd.
so that we don't get beat up. But my immediate response was that Hammerfall ? And they just responded, yes, that Hammerfall. Here's what they sound like.
On the wall when heathens ruled above us all, tormented, we still heard the call.
Yeah. So they're super awesome. But
So
I was
fun.
like, I was
so fun to play with a band like that.
Immediately I was like sure that like
That
they
Hammerfall?
were either asking the wrong band or there was another band named Hammerfall. And so then when they responded like, yeah, that Hammerfall, I was just like, oh,
Okay.
this is absolutely yes. And I immediately texted the band. I was like, we just got this offer. There's no way we're turning it down. And no surprise, because this tends to be the thing in the metal world. Every one of the guys in that band was just so kind and
Coolest motherfuckers you've ever met.
wanted to just hang out and chat with us and wanted to just like
Seb and I talked Fanta for like 15 minutes with
European Fanta's the best. So that one's
Where are they from? Sweden?
I think so. They're high on my list. That show was high on my list.
Sweden or Denmark or Norway or Finland. One
So
of those.
they're all over Europe all the time because they're from there.
Yeah. Opening for Anti-Flag was a big deal. This happened in like 2012. It was Trans World Snowboarding put on in conjunction with Skull Candy these 2 nights of shows in Salt Lake. And the first night was over at Club Sound, and it was Alkaline Trio, and opening for them was I Am the Ocean and Funkin' Gonzo. And then the following night, or no, the night we were the first night, we opened for Anti-Flag. And it was in the big room at the complex. So
wasn't there like a hip hop act and like a real
there was a hip hop group before
like a
us.
slower indie band or something like that.
No, it was just the hip hop group before us. Yeah. And
so kind of fish in a bucket because like the crowd was there for some
it was a free show.
Yeah.
So tons of people turned out. It was like early in the day as well. There was on like a Saturday.
There was so much that happened around that show.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like I loved, and I was a big Anti-Flag fan when I was like 20. And so I was super excited to be opening for them. And again, all the dudes in that band, super nice, super kind to us. And when we had like the moment where we needed to get on stage, and like we had been on stage earlier and kind of like done a little bit of a sound check, and you know, we had certainly noticed, like at that time we hadn't played a lot of very big stages, and we kind of noticed how huge it was. But once we got on stage to play the show, and I like looked over to my right, and Canyon, the person who normally was like, or to my left rather, the person who normally was like a foot away from me was now like 15 feet away from me. Like Nick, you looked like you were like 30 feet away from me. It was just like
a massive stage.
And we walked out on stage, and you know, it was the big room at the complex, a free show, so it was
completely
packed, and it was
sold
like,
out,
oh
in a sense.
Boy, there's a lot of people here. That was pretty amazing.
We stocked up on men's small t-shirts thinking like it's all ages, we're going to sell like a ton of these, and we had them for years, after that.
Yeah,
we mostly sold CDs because they were a hot commodity. Well, Anti-Flag's like no more now.
Yeah,
they've like been completely canceled because there's a podcast that's like specifically about like shitty musicians and like rape allegations.
Yeah.
And they did an episode.
The fuck is that podcast
They
called?
did. I don't know off the top of my head, but they did an episode about their singer, and like shortly after, it was like
the next day.
The next day, the band is like, yeah,
Yep,
we're done. We're like, we've always been.
Yeah. We listen to Survivors.
We listen to Survivors, and so we'd be kind of like ill-advised to talk about these like memories without kind of acknowledging that.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one that I think is a good one to mention, Bearmouth Music Festival, when we opened for, now my brain, Heartless Bastards.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
It was a festival, and we played the slot right before Heartless
I
Bastards.
think I was still working out of a freaking chord book at that time.
This was Cameron's first
Festival.
time on tour.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah,
On tour?
You were stumbling around with a bottle of gin.
Yeah.
And LB was
And
stumbling
LB
around.
was there. We're still, at some point, we're going to tell that story. And although now that I know my mom listens to this podcast,
she needs to know because it's still funny.
it's still a good story. The crazy thing about that show was, like, it's an outdoor festival stage. It's up in the mountains of Montana. We started playing, and it was just the weirdest thing watching droves and droves of people like scurrying down a mountain, coming out from behind trees to run and see us. That was a good time. Pop quiz. Does anyone know the name of the journalist that interviewed us backstage before we went on?
No, I remember reading that article.
Tucker Carlson. Just kidding. That's
Yeah, it
not
was
a
Tucker
journalist.
Carlson.
Thankfully, no.
It's not a journalist.
Dick Barry. That was his name.
Dick Barry.
Dick Barry.
I got one of those.
So
Sorry for making fun of your name, Dick Barry.
He was a really nice guy too.
Now I feel double bad.
You should. I mean, at least his name isn't Clamtown.
Yeah.
So
I did legally change it 10
Now
years
it's
ago.
going to be Claptown now that he's got an assortment of berries down there.
Rob said that his favorite was hanging out with us, watching Larry and his Flask, and Rob and I went to Tenacious D together. And that was an
cool.
absolute blast.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem with trying to answer these is like, oh man, we've played with so many amazing bands over the years that trying to pull one out of your ass on a random Monday.
Yeah.
There's
It's
more
like
parts to Rob's question.
Oh, that's everything.
it's like I
was just
could
open.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I couldn't tell you which ones we brag about, and when we're trying to like say, hey, we're a real cool band, we'll bring people to the show, please book us.
Yeah, my favorite is to tell people about when we opened for Cold War Kids.
Oh yeah.
You guys may not remember that because when they initially asked us to play that show, they told us that we would be the direct support for Cold War Kids, which means the
we
band
were not.
directly before them. And a couple days before the show, they moved us to the very first band, which meant we were playing at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
And they were playing. It was like a night show
10
that
a.m.
started
in the morning.
at 10 a.m.
Yeah. And they were like, well, we figured you guys would bring people. And we're like, it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
You're lucky
So-
I got here.
Yeah. So the next part of Rob's question was
More from
who
Rob.
we liked opening for us.
Hammerfall.
Murphy and the Giant.
Ew. Reference.
Boo. Oh man, there's been so many incredible bands that we've played with over the years. That's like an impossible question. It's even harder to answer than the last question.
Technically, oh God, man.
But I
don't
know my answer.
What's your answer?
On the Water.
Yeah.
Ah, fuck.
Sorry to steal that one from
That's
you
a
guys.
good one.
Because
I was trying to think of them because that's like one of those bands that I have listened to for years and years since having the pleasure of meeting.
On the Water is one of my favorite bands of all time, and like I had never heard of them before they opened for us. And
They had a fucking toy piano.
They had a toy piano.
They were
had
cool.
so many cool things. They're just the way they write songs, the way they compose their songs.
I'm gonna make
the
a request.
lyrics, everything.
You should just that whole day was a shit show and the coolest night ever.
Yeah.
It was neat.
They have a song called Elephant's Memory that is like one of my most favorite songs of all time. It's on the top 5 list for sure. Love that band. You guys got an answer yet?
Kind of.
I know another one that like you'd both be jealous of thinking
What?
about. Baby Girl.
Yeah.
I mean, we love Baby Girl.
They're the best band in Salt Lake. They can go fuck
I
themselves.
mean, so like on our level,
Love those
saying that
guys.
a band opened for us is merely
You
a
played a show with them,
technicality.
yeah.
Yeah. Like there's this thing among musicians called a tour sandwich, and basically,
Don't go to Urban Dictionary.
if don't go to Urban Dictionary for it. It's a sandwich that you make out of tour items. No, like if there's a band that's coming to your town, then it's just like when we leave and go on tour, we want people to be there. And so we go find some bands that are in that town that are doing something that we think is cool. And they bring some of their friends and we bring some of our friends, but likely, they know more people in the town that they're from that are going to come to a show. At least that's the way that it used to work in the olden days. And so, you know, if you're playing with a touring band or a cool band is coming to your town, then a lot of times you might put them in the middle. Hence the tour sandwich. As local support, you're the crusty bread on the outside of the meat and cheeses and vegetables and mustard.
I love mustard.
There was a
Just had
time.
to circle it back to the mustard thing.
Yeah, hey, nice job.
Always.
There was a time when technically this band is no longer a thing, but when Crook and the Bluff was a 2-piece, and it was just Kirk and the left-handed guitar player.
I never bothered to learn his
I
name.
didn't know his name. No, I just
Lefty.
I know Kirk because he's around a lot and stuff. And anyway, I think they opened up for us at Woodshed.
Yeah, I remember that show.
And and they have they had a third band member too. I forgot
they had a drummer.
the Fog Machine.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their joke. Okay, yeah. Back when they were a 2-piece, and not to say that they were any less incredible once they got a bassist and drummer. Something about that 2-piece though was super cool because it really forced you to kind of come close to the stage and focus. Maybe not even focus, just pay attention. It just drew you in really well. I think the first time I saw them, I don't even know why I was at Urban Lounge, but they were doing their album release show, and I think they were opening up for someone. And I don't even remember what this was, but I was just enthralled. It was super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who's the band you were thinking of now that we've scraped?
I said Baby Girl.
Baby Girl?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a good one.
Okay.
I'll take you all the way back.
The way that you said it, I thought that was an additional one to the one you were thinking of. Okay.
I'll take you all the way back.
Tupelo Moan.
First band that
Yeah.
ever technically opened for us. Albino Father.
Albino Father.
I loved
Love
that
those
band,
dudes.
man. I loved that band. I've got one of their albums on vinyl. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last part of Rob's question.
Oh my God, Rob!
Shows you enjoyed just as an audience member.
Meaning a show I've been to?
Yeah,
Oh,
just shows you loved.
there's 2. And I don't remember.
Been to 2 shows.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, there's 2 shows that are top notch in my book. You're gonna have no surprises of this, but
Yeah.
I think it was the first time I saw Punch Brothers.
Okay.
May have been the second. I don't know. They're so unreal.
Yeah, they're the best musicians in the world at their instruments.
At their instruments. I mean, they're
Every one of them.
damn good. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Anyway, I could go on and on about them. And then I saw Devin Townsend in Denver at a pizza joint called the Marquee Theater, I want to say. And it was like this, maybe the size of Woodshed. It was super small.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And like, he's a I mean, it's a pretty big, prog metal musician, right? But yeah, I remember at some point during that show, I like bawled my eyes out, and then he's like, "All right, we're done," blah blah blah, and he like hopped off stage and was like starting to chat with everyone, and the photo that I got with him, you could tell my eyes were like my eyes were all glassy and
Yeah.
it's
Puffy
pretty
and
fun.
red.
I know, and I'm
Yeah.
all like awkward looking, thumbs up, like ooh. It was cool. There's probably another one in there too. Ministry was a good show.
I think the one answer that I absolutely have to give is
I'm assuming he's not asking for local bands. I would just say Baby Girl.
I
They're
think
so
you'd
good.
accept any
Baby
answer.
Girl at ABG's with the sound fucking being
Baby Girl.
horrible.
Baby Girl, the best. I gotta say Bear versus Shark. I mean, there's a lot of incredible
You've seen
shows.
Propaganda too.
I've seen Propaganda.
Or
I've seen a lot of
Propagandy, as they say.
I've seen a lot of really good bands that I've absolutely loved to see, but
I'm dressed like them right
that
now.
Bear versus Shark show. For those of you who have never heard of Bear versus Shark, which I assume is probably everyone listening to this, they were a like post-punk band in the mid 2000s, and they split up. And I thought I'd never get the chance to see them. And they did a reunion tour a few years ago, and so I bought tickets to see the show in San Francisco. My ex-wife and I flew out there. And
Ate it ramen hood.
And I've been to a lot of packed shows. I've been to a lot of high energy shows. I've been to a lot of shows where like everyone in the crowd was so intensely into the band. Cursive comes to mind. But man, that Bear versus Shark show, it was a fairly small venue, probably 300 cap. There was one person in front of me at the stage, and it was so tightly packed in there that all the sweat from everyone moving around condensated, and it started like dripping on stage from the ceiling.
God, can you imagine? That's what That's funny. That's just a fucking normal day in Florida.
And at one point, so their singer Mark Poffey is known for like having some crazy stage antics, and like he kept leaning out over the crowd, like directly over top of me, and so I would look up, but then the crowd would surge forward, and my dreadlocks would be behind me, and the person behind me would get pushed into me, and so I would be stuck looking up for like a song while I like slowly tried to tug my dreadlocks free so I could look forward. And there were so many songs I didn't expect them to play, that they ended up playing. And there was one song specifically, my favorite song of theirs, called Blood Giver, that I was like, man, I really wish they would play Blood Giver. But I didn't expect it. And at one point during the set, Mark Poffey's like down in everyone's faces in the front row, like putting the microphone in people's faces. And he has this incredible scream voice. And at one point, he put the mic in front of someone's face at like one of these like really crazy scream parts. And everyone in there is singing along. Like it was hard to hear the band over the crowd singing along. In fact, during the first song, I saw the bass player look over at the guitar player as soon as the crowd started to sing along, and he mouthed, "What the fuck is going on?" to the other bandmate, because it was just that intense in the room. And
It's the Beatles all over again.
yeah. And anyway, it hit this point in this song where this scream comes out, and I'm like screaming along like everyone around me is screaming, and Mark Poffey looks over at me with this kind of puzzled look on his face and like looked me right in the eye, and I was like, oh, I hope I wasn't off key. And then the next song was Blood Giver, and I was just like losing my mind. I was like, no way, I can't believe they're doing this song. So when it got to the part of the song that's the crescendo where he's screaming the word blood giver, he came right down and stuck the microphone in my mouth. And so I was like singing Bear versus Shark for a couple syllables, and it made me feel real happy.
That's cool.
So that's up there. Oh, I thought of a double answer here. When we opened for Legendary Shack Shakers.
Oh yeah, that's a good show.
At Area 51 of all places. Loved that show, but as soon as we were done, Legendary Shack Shakers got on stage, and they were a huge influence for me in starting Folk Hogan. And J.D. Wilkes, their singer, is known for kind of like pretty crazy stage antics and sort of abusing people in the front row, you could say. Oh, yeah. He has a habit of spitting a lot on stage and shooting snot rockets and hitting himself and other people with the microphone. And Cameron, being Cameron, had messaged J.D. Wilkes before the show and was like, hey, you play banjo, I play banjo, let's hang out beforehand. And like they sort of became little internet friends. And then like day of the show, he's like, yeah, me and JD are gonna jam. And I was like, you're gonna jam with JD Wilkes?
Yeah, I had no idea. I'd just seen him on Instagram before, and I'm just like, oh, cool.
Cameron's like, oh, banjo.
And Cameron's like, yeah, you should come meet him. And I was like, I can't. Yeah. And he was like, why not? And I was like, I will like become a stammering idiot. I will make a fool of myself. I can't come talk to him. I'm too nervous. So I didn't meet JD Wilkes. And so when they started taking the stage, I made sure I was front and center. And of course, he had seen us play, so he already knew who we were. He knew who I was. And he took full use of that. And he hit me in the face with his microphone. He like smeared my face with his hand. He spit on me. He like, dude, it was, and I was loving every second. I was just like, yes, this is awesome. So that's up there on my list.
Oh man.
So
I've been to so many good shows. It's hard to say. You know, there was this time of being like just barely 21 and going to ABGs and going and seeing, oh no.
Good band.
Oh no.
No, your brain stopped.
My brain stopped. We'll come back to that. I used to go to emo shows in like 2000 and whatever. And the staples of the Provo scene were like Hi-Fi Massacre, which is probably the band that I've seen the most amount of times, and Parallax was really huge, and they toured around quite a bit, and they had a lot of success until their singer tragically died in a cave swimming incident, which is horrifying. And the remaining members just did a reunion show pretty recently this year at a Crucial Fest.
Yeah.
But Hi-Fi Massacre was kind of my favorite. They were the most interesting. And I remember going and seeing The Used at Suite 13 in Linden, Utah.
Linden.
And that was the most intense show that I went to for probably 10 years. I'd been to a lot of like punk shows. I'd been to a lot of like emo, screamo-ish shows that had a lot of like, you know, silly dancing and moshing.
Yeah.
But this was a completely packed room, and the majority of the people there were 21 plus, and I was like 15 and just tiny. And I remember there was like this big mosh pit behind me, and there was this massive guy that had to be like 6'3", 300 plus pounds. And I just remember seeing somebody coming our way, flying and turning away from it, and feeling them hit him through his body because we were all packed in there so tightly. and I just saw like a Converse All-Star just go flying.
No, that means
Like-
someone died.
So, no, it wasn't. It didn't fall off of their foot, but it was just like a.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then, strangely enough, the very next day, same venue, there was a 10-year reunion show for Stretch Armstrong, which was a ska band
Yeah.
beep, beep, boop, boop, beep.
that I listened to like on tape cassette growing up. And then band I was trying to think of, Durwood from Stretch Armstrong, is now in. They've been around
Utah
for
County Swillers.
Utah County Swillers.
One of the greatest bands of all time.
Yeah, I originally saw them, their previous band, the Unlucky Boys, but Scott Willis is great. And then eventually I ended up taking a job doing sound, and I probably did sound for them like 20 times, but it was just so perfect back when like 80s Steve was running sound at ABGs, and like,
Hi, Dane.
there was, this was just a different world before the smartphone.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob, for all those questions.
Yeah, good questions.
We do.
We can finally move
We
on.
can do a million podcasts just
We're
talking about.
yeah, I
Rob.
know. We're like 42 minutes already, so we could
So we're out of time for questions.
We got,
No.
we got one more
we could say
question.
a prayer. End it.
Chris Anthony wanted to know about what inspired songs on previous albums and stories of earlier Folk Hogan.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that.
We're going to go through all the albums, and we're going to talk about.
And we don't have
all the
time because
songs.
Rob took up all the time today.
Shut up!
He
Don't talk about
deserves
Rob like that.
He deserves all the
I love
time.
Rob. He's my
He
favorite.
does. That's why I wanted him to
We
finish
made-
all
we
of the
made
other questions
him-
that he asked.
Him first, and then Heather shortly after a 50 shows.
Yeah.
Been to 50 Folk Hogan shows,
Yeah.
and then they were shooting for 100 right before COVID happened, and they're probably there now or very close.
They're close. Yeah, they're close.
But that's
100.
that's a lot of times to come see the same band play.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Trust us, from the people who've done it 1,000 times.
And not just like little I mean, they'd come sit in the 3-hour ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. All night.
At some
All
point,
night long.
we are going to have to do an episode on former bands, because I would love to just sit and hear stories about Die Panda Die, Nick's former band.
We could talk about other bands that people have been in.
Yeah. I would love to go through stuff like
We're going
that.
to list every previous sexual partner that you've had.
Me? Just me?
Yeah, that's going to be a 45-minute episode.
No, I can have that over in about as long as it takes me. How about you guys? Do you have, Cameron, you got any questions for Nick and I? Anything you want to know?
What?
We're Q&A. You
Have any questions for you guys? Oh, yes, I do. Could you eat Indian food for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Nothing
man.
but.
No Mexican food. A life without Mexican food.
That's It's a brutal life because I love Mexican food.
Though.
Could you just
food's
eat
so good.
Indian food nonstop? Because I mean, there's a lot of variety.
Probably.
A lot of variety. I mean, okay, here's maybe a little deeper question. If you had to eat it for the rest of your life, let's say you're like 10 months in, you're just like, fuck, I don't want curry. Like if you just ate some rice, is that it? That's not. Is that Indian food still? Would that technically be that? Or you got to have curry with it? You got to have,
You're the one making the rules. I don't know why you're asking us.
I don't know. I guess I'm just saying if like you had a magic fridge.
I'm one of those people
oven.
that is capable of eating the same thing every day and being okay with it. So I think I'd be fine because
I
there's
am too,
enough
yeah.
variety
Yeah.
there. My girlfriend would lose her mind. She has
got
to have
potatoes in
variety.
it.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Nick, could you eat Indian food every day for the rest of your life?
I mean, they do it in India. They just call it food there.
Just call it food.
It's just food. Yeah, easily.
Like what
Easily.
a privileged
I wouldn't-
ass thing that I asked.
I wouldn't be bored of it. I wouldn't be bored of it at all. No, I mean, that's definitely a category that I could never get bored of.
Fuck, it's good.
Do you have a question for Cameron and I?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, the whole like, oh, my girlfriend, not talked about, but you kind of hit on the opposites attract thing for a second. Had a little bit of an argument with the girlfriend.
Ooh.
Kind of going back and forth, and I mean, is it reasonable to be upset about sucking 21 dicks previously in a relationship?
Are you asking me this?
Or,
No.
Who gives a shit?
No. Live your life, girl.
yeah.
Get it.
Yeah. I mean, she seemed pretty upset when she found out. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, nice.
Good
Nice.
joke.
That was a
Good
real,
joke.
that was a real
Nice
fucking
tie-in.
dad joke.
That was a good joke.
I don't care how many dicks you suck, dog.
The old misogyny flip.
I got a question for
That's
you
a funny.
guys.
I like jokes.
That
where,
was your question for me?
I like jokes. I like jokes that you have to think about. A slow burn.
I got a question for you guys.
I have dry humor.
You have to cut.
I plead the fifth. Proceed with caution.
You have to cut 2 songs off of all 4 of our albums.
All 4?
Yep.
So
2
which
songs each.
Okay.
So first album, what are you cutting?
Let me look at the fucking track listing, dog.
Nick, what are you cutting?
Including the EP? Are we doing the EP or just one?
One
from
off
the
the EP.
Okay, because it's an epi.
Yeah.
Read the list real fast.
So
Just go through
first
them real
album,
fast.
Zombie Prince, March of the Drunkards, Hell Hath No Fury, Larry the Legend, Skeleton Scramble, Living Bones of Mayor Jones, Bootlegger's Dance, Band of Mighty Souls, I'm Still Drunk, Ashley, True Love Song, Long Walk Home.
Can I answer?
Yeah,
Sure.
Oh, Ashley and Long Walk Home.
I could cut.
Long Walk Home.
I could cut Ashley,
Fine.
and I could cut Hell Hath
All right.
because
What
it's
about-
hard.
What about the second album, The Show? Ringmaster, Lion Tamer, Elephant Rider, Fire Breather, Illusionist, Butcher, Beast and the Bearded Lady, Flying Trapeze, Freak Show, The Show, Intermission, Monsieur Loyal, Fate and the Fade, Reprise, Knife Fight.
I think anybody could say Knife Fight, even though it's a really cool
Yeah.
song. It's just there's the reason that we didn't continue to play that is that
It's hard.
it
It's really fucking not.
if it was a piece of sheet music, then every 4 measures there would be a change of time signature.
Yeah,
basically.
that intro is tricky.
Fuck. Me?
And by every 4 measures, I mean
What are you
2,
cutting off the first album?
4,
I already gave them
6,
to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did.
6, 4, 2.
Oh man, I don't know. Dare I say Fate and the Fade?
Really?
Yeah.
That's unexpected. I mean, I guess I wouldn't know what to expect.
That
on
and
this album.
maybe
That would be my cut, actually.
Lion Tamer or
Really?
Elephant Rider, one of
Okay.
those two, I think.
Okay. Nick, you said Fate and the Fade?
Yeah.
And?
Don't get me wrong.
And,
I like that song. I just
Knife
wish
Fight,
the
top 10.
and Knife Fight. I wish the chorus was not all major chords strung together in the same thing, just going a step apart from each other. It just
Interesting.
still bugs my ear to this day.
Huh.
Could also be a consequence of me not knowing what the fuck I was doing and just
'Cause
like
you were new at your
I was
instrument.
brand new at my instrument. So
Cameron
I'd
joined
like
the band 2 months before we recorded that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
And I'd been playing for a year,
Yeah.
I think, at that point. But yeah.
Yeah. I really didn't put that together because
Because it was 12 years ago.
well, that and because we started writing it while
Oh, yeah. Well, Box was in the
Box
band.
was still in the band,
Yeah.
and by the time that we recorded it, Cameron was on it.
Yep.
But didn't we have her sing on?
No. She was supposed to sing Elephant Rider, but Canyon just sang it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah.
Is this
She
really
always
all the
sing it at
tracks?
shows.
She'd always sing it
Yeah.
at shows, so I thought.
Yeah. So on Behold, Band of Mighty Souls Part 2, No Means Jeff, Pop Rocks, Lady Justice, Eggs, I Choose Adventure, Bourbon Blues, Take Me to Your Leader, Whiskey for Breakfast, Behold. You got to cut 2.
Take Me to Your Leader and Lady Justice.
All right.
Probably a very odd choice, but
Yeah.
I choose Adventure.
I could take her to that one as well. I could do a trade or a draft.
What were my options again outside of that?
Band of Mighty Souls Part 2.
Got to keep that.
No Means Jeff.
Yeah.
Pop
Gotta keep
Rocks.
We could cut Pop Rocks.
Okay, so you're on I Choose Adventure and Pop Rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so on V,
One damn word.
Cameron hates one damn word. Play Fast, Drink Whiskey, The Fall, On My Own, One Damn Word, or
If
Band
I
of Mighty
don't
Souls
like any of
Part
the
3
ones on there.
chips.
Same as Cameron. We cut one off of this.
Yep.
Yeah. Same as Cameron.
That's too bad. I like that song.
Everyone else likes it. That's fine. It's just a whole
If I had
essay.
to cut a second one, it would be On My Own.
Yeah. And what about the new album?
Oh, fuck you. I ain't cutting shit on that. Let me look. I still don't even have it saved to my thing. It just
This Is Not the End, Life in a Day, Tree of Life, Like Icarus, I Was Alive in 2005, The Monster, Time, Hall of Mirrors, To Hold You Forever, Blood from a Stone, Soul Harvester, All Good Things Die in San Diego, It Is Only the Beginning.
I mean, I'd probably cut the Scott heavy too, because, we know now that he's not going to be in the band.
Yeah. Well, we're still going to play him.
Yeah, we're still
yeah.
going to play him, but that's where I would go.
Yeah. Cameron.
I'm a lazy man.
I mean, can I cut This Is Only the Beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll cut that one.
The
Even though
last song.
it might ruin your concept.
No, it's fine.
And James. No. I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say James. James. Maybe. I'd be tied between 2005 and The Monster. One of those two.
Yeah. All right. Good answers all around. Tough questions. Good answers. Well,
So if anyone has any recommendations for Indian food in the Valley, just comment on one of our posts. And
also, if you like Irish car bombs, the drink,
not the incident,
not the thing,
not the event.
and a good place to get them, let us know, because that's our favorite drink.
It's your favorite drink.
It's definitely my favorite drink. Yeah. So
ad time?
That does it for us. So
This section.
Let's talk about the
could be-
vests, because the
Yeah.
patches just arrived in the mail today.
Oh man, you want to look cool?
No. Oh,
I'm
right.
not talking to you, Cameron. You'll never look cool.
I know.
That's not true. He's in a Canadian tuxedo right now. He looks great.
I look like Jay Leno.
So, many of you have probably seen us or other folks in the Folk Hogan vests. We just got them back in stock. So if you want to check them out, if you're a fan of wearing a cool battle vest and putting your own patches on it, you can start off with a Folk Hogan vest that already got the big old Folk Hogan patch on the back.
And these are version 2.
They have these huge interior pockets. They're actually designed to be gun vests, but they have these huge interior pockets and exterior pockets. They're super warm. Even just wearing, like during winter, just wearing a vest and a hoodie.
It is vest season.
It is. They're very warm. They're very thick. They're not cheap, like super thin.
They'll fit a full-size iPad too.
Yeah, you can.
They do.
Legit
They
fit
Yeah.
a
do, and I've
full-size
done that
fucking
quite a
iPad in
bit.
there.
They also.
Where else are you going to put it?
You can
Yeah.
fit
It's
an
awkward
entire
device.
40 in each one of those pockets as well.
Yeah. So it's not just about fashion. It's also convenience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't want a huge pocket?
You can fit tons of stuff in there: snacks, drinks.
I for sure use the
Tiny puppies.
the gun pocket. There's like a rubber.
Oh, an
What is it
elastic
called?
thing in
Elastic. There's elastic in there. I've definitely put drinks in there
You
before.
could probably get
It's a
into
good flask pocket.
Yeah.
freaking USANA. You plastic up some
there.
beer.
There you go.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna notice. They just look like, man, you got some love
Yeah.
handles, and I
don't know
like
if you-
it.
Save
I don't know
yourself.
if you could. Isn't that one of those places like clear bag policy? Like
Yeah, but if you're wearing a vest,
they'll check it.
They'll check it.
But
no, they won't.
They want to charge you $20 a beer.
but you can get anywhere. else you can get on the bus. You could bootleg your way around.
Yeah.
Town.
So
Hide
these,
your alcoholism in public better than other ways.
these vests have two different designs on them. There's one that has our alien abduction one, which is what our van is wrapped in, that looks super, super cool. And then our Dungeons and Dragons drive-ins and dives design that's a cool gender-swapped D&D of a lady barbarian slaying a dragon.
Protecting the feebling man.
Yeah. Pick those up, man. You can just go over to folkhogan.com/shop and use the code VESTPUNK, all one word, VESTPUNK at checkout. And you're just going to be the coolest looking kid on the playground.
Anyways,
So,
here's the knife fight on the top tent.
yeah. Anyways, here's everyone's
Knife fight in
favorite
the top
song.
tent.